button. Hello. It's a new one. Maybe a update said recording in progress. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I just said too. It's like, ask me to leave if I wanted to leave or if I was okay. Yeah, I'm okay.
Oh, so it asked you to like it should.
Yeah.
I guess an update that I hadn't seen happen in however long with all the stuff. Like it just automatically lets you know. We've been in that world so used to being in meetings and they're all recorded for school purposes or whatever. Like it's all second nature now, and it's like what? But,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, now that it's not required stuff, we're gonna add in the security options. So
yeah.
Are you okay with this?
Yeah. Which, I mean, not any of the discussion I want to have or anything, but it'll be interesting to see how much more of this we have to continue to do with the Zoom meetings and all this the further along we get. But
yeah.
I mean, obviously this is one of those things we talk about that's great for you and I mean, we're in different states. We're able to go ahead and record. We're just waiting on Tyler to go ahead and show on up over here. Whenever he gets here, I got to plug something else in. I'll plug in one of my other lights and stuff over here.
All right. You're good.
So, but yeah, so we've been just talking about a little bit of wrestling talk, a little bit of gymnastics talk. We were interesting to find out that gymnastics makes all their people go through everything. Wrestling does not, and all those things. And I guess some other things to talk about when Tyler gets here, but while we're kind of on that note of in the past, the world guy has always gotten to sit and everything else.
Yeah.
Burroughs, did you see his recent post that he made, or like his recent thing that's made that was really actually pretty good about like why he's at the training camps and such?
Actually, no. I have gone almost complete. I say almost like 95% off social media since cadet duels. I've been pretty much off of it and just getting away from technology as much as I can. So fill me in.
No, which I think is a great thing. I kind of was with that with like while I was gone to all my classes for like that beginning part of June. So my social media presence in June was also kind of like I was kind of Neil. I was just trying to get on a few things just to like and kind of make sure that I was still kind of active with some of the other stuff that I do with the
with your business side and things.
Kind of like somewhat business, somewhat like trying to only use social media for what kind of like how I originally intended to use and how I kind of use it, like friends and family, like, hey, here's some vacation pics, that kind of stuff. But that's a whole separate thing. But no, what he had was really cool. He was at one of the training camps with everybody, and he was like, yeah, I'm going to be here at the training camps. Is it kind of a shot to my pride a little bit? Yeah, I'm used to being the guy who everybody's there to train for, but now I'm not. Now I had to remember that there were many people who were at these training camps for me who were the guy who got beat, who was the guy on the other side of it. And I just thought it was a pretty unique discussion. Like him, maybe not unique in the sense of like anybody giving it, but coming from him, the guy that had been on top for so long. He was the guy. He was the one that, let's put it this way, the guy who beat Kyle Dake, the guy who beat the Magic Man for so many years to keep that spot. And yet those guys still had to show up for training camps because part of the teams and everything else, and to be ready to go just in case. And his take on it, like just the blunt honesty of like, man, it hurts my pride. It hurts it. It's a shot to the ego a little bit. I'm not the guy, but he was like, but there's no way I'm not going to be here. I'm here for them. I'm still a part of that team. Also, he was like, my being here gets me better. I don't get better sitting at home licking my wounds and all that kind of stuff. So I was just like, man, that's a really good thing. And I think it's one of those things that, too many people maybe don't see. They don't know about. They're like, they think it's all about them. And when it's not them, it's kind of like some of these tournaments where we see people, they go and they lose. They don't wrestle that backside, they don't come back to go for third and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I just thought that one was a really cool one. On his take,
Yeah, and I think that's something. I mean, I know I just said like I've been getting away from it, but Jordan has always done a good job with his social media presence of portraying, what he's really feeling without being too overtly controversial. And he hit a good point with what you just said in that. And you there are all those other people. I mean, the first one that popped in my head was Karelin coming back to train with Rulon the year after the Olympics, to make them better. And that's what the sport's always been. And you also hit on it as well. Like, if you're the number 2 guy, you actually are pretty much required to be there, because if an injury or something happens, you're the next man up.
Yeah.
And so he has to be there. So you have to have the right mental attitude. I think about the Terry video about all of a sudden, crap, I've got to be there for Kendall Cross. Like, it's the part of the sport that goes overlooked. But his positive mentality is what's always made him successful and what's made people gravitate to him. And knowing he's going to get into coaching too, as coaches, we know the more I'm in the room, the better I'm going to be. The better quality room I'm in, the better quality coach I'm going to be. Even if it's a low quality room, I have to have open eyes, and you're always going to learn something. So
yes.
He just brought everything. I mean, you're exactly right. That's a great point. And I hope people and coaches and kids, take that for what it is.
Yeah, so much. There's like little tidbits of different things that I hold on to. Like, that's one that I hold on to. Well, I think
Tyler's here.
That's one I hold on to. The one that I think of you and myself in this one with so as coaches and as fathers, have you seen the one where Mark Munoz is talking to his son I think it's at Fargo, one of the Fargo, right before his son goes to college. And it was right after a loss, and the way he was talking to his son and like, hey, keep our head up high. There's a few situations, we can always work on. And, just the way he talked to him is kind of like one of those things of like, man, not just for myself to aspire to be able to talk to my child that way, my athlete that way, but I'm like you said, coaches as a whole, if they could talk to their kids that way and do all that kind of stuff, it's like, there's just so many of them out there. We got so many good role models in our sport and everything. It makes it all worthwhile. So,
and that's true in any sport. The more positive you are, and which is so much different than when we came through, which has been fun to watch, but also the guys that have tried to, if you try to stay with the way things were, you're always getting past. But you and I have seen it from the military-esque, because that's who they were. That's what worked for them, those coaches, when we were coming through, to now the understanding of the psychology of the athletes and trying to get to know even the little youth league kids, getting to understand what makes them tick is huge. And that's the other part. If you just focus on technique, X's and O's in any sport, you're getting left behind. You have to be studying the psychology of it and all of these athletes. So I'm listening to and reading the Tim Grover books, Relentless and Winning, right now. And you just get blown away with the psychology of those top tier guys, but also understanding the guys below it. So you're exactly right. And as a dad, it's for my son entering his junior year and then moving to schools, kind of taking a step back, the 3 guys he's going to have right there with him. I'm fine with that. I mean, it's cool. It's kind of nice to be able to step back and go, I can be dad these last 2 years and really enjoy that. So it's that Munoz point was exactly spot on with where I'm at right now.
Yep. So, all right. Well, as you guys can see, Tyler has joined us, except he's not on a third screen up here. So he is actually back in the house again. And I said that he's also going to be staying here next week as we're going on vacation, watches the dogs, and gets his own mini vacation at the house and whatnot. But
I look forward to it every year just as much as y'all do.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool. Like, it's one of those things that we just mentioned, like the whole, like the weird warning from Zoom saying, you are now recording. Do you want to do it? Like, hey, we're kind of getting back to some other normalities and some stuff even around here, which is kind of cool. And glad to have him back in the house. Like, it's kind of weird. Like, I'm almost like, I know he's here, but I'm like looking for his face on a different screen on the screen. It's like,
it's also what's also weird is that like we have done the video stuff for so long, like the Zoom call, is that it almost seems like abnormal to be like in the same room again. Although like it seems like I can't remember the last time we actually did an in-room podcast. And
it's been a minute since we've been able to be in room and to do all that. So it's kind of cool to to have it back this way for, for however long we got it back this way. But so we were just talking about Jordan Burroughs being the number 2 guy. Like, he had made that post about like how he's still going to be in the room practicing. He's there to support now. He has to remember. So it was kind of a cool thing. And then I just saw something today that I guess we could start with Tyler, just because Tyler's actually here. I can't just talk trash about him with him not being here. But so Michigan. So Tyler's thing is, every time there's a move, Tyler's like, they're going to Michigan. They're going to Michigan.
Always.
That's his thing. So did you see the coaching move away from Michigan?
So I haven't, because I have literally been the past 3 days, I have been in school, like literally from about the morning till about like 4:30. And then after that, I am like doing reading and like article readings and stuff for like my senior sep. So I haven't even been on social media really.
Yeah, we were just talking about like doing that. And it's interesting now that you mentioned school, before I get into the guy here, but like I'll get and throw it out there. It looks like I'm gonna take a look and see what it takes. I'm gonna I think go ahead and try to get a doctorate and then like do some more schooling. So whoever would have thought that I'd be looking at trying
Dr. Purdy?
Yeah.
I don't know about all that.
Dr. Wrestling is what it'll be. Dr. Wrestling.
Yeah.
Hey, have fun, okay?
What do you want to get a PhD in?
Something education related. I do not know 100% if I wanted to do I right now I do not want to be an admin but it's one of those things of there is always I can get a doctorate in administration. Doesn't mean I have to go be a principal, but say my last 3 to 4 years of teaching, if I wanted to, somebody made the point of not only would I, after I get my doctorate, I would get doctorate credit pay, with education, if you get math. So I'd get I'd be on the doctorate level for pay.
Yeah.
So, which is awesome. But then, my kids obviously, hopefully by my last couple of years be grown. And then if I wanted to do that for those last couple of years and then retire with that larger paycheck at the end, I was like, that's not bad advice. Even though my desire for being an admin is so little that I don't know if I'd take that or if I want to go into something else, arts education, but education wise and then just have that doctorate level and maybe have more of a focus on arts integration and be able to do more PD and district level stuff, maybe arts coordinator wise later on. But right now,
I would probably say, because I have a master's in admin and I've had it for 15 years, maybe never used it, just like no desire. Alabama passed, they changed their legislation about 4 years ago. So if I did go back to get a doctorate, which I have no desire, it would have to be in the classroom, or else I wouldn't even get paid for it, which is completely asinine.
Yeah.
So I could get a doctorate in history and I could get paid for it. But if I got a doctorate in admin and I was not an admin, I wouldn't get paid for it. So
I think that's because if you go for a specific subject like history or something, you get paid because you're getting paid to do research for that institution as well. So you get a stipend, and usually the stipend's only anywhere from 10 to 15,000 a year, which
no, in the state of Alabama, you have to pay for your own education. You get no stipend. Some universities will give you a little bit of a discount.
Yeah,
but no.
And see, that's the thing. The reason why I'm looking at it now, and then we'll go back to the wrestling thing, is I'm at that point where I've got enough years in, I've got my master's, that if I go ahead and get it now, the payout from it would be beneficial enough to it would pay for it, I got it in the long run. And then I would just be at the better pay thing. If I've been too far along into it, it's is it worth it to go get your doctorate and pay for it and not have that many years left? So I'm at that spot right now. It's kind of do it now or.
Yeah. See,
you're right.
I know UNC, Iowa, Iowa State, and these are all wrestling schools. There's a reason I mentioned the wrestling schools because Virginia Tech, I think, Virginia.
I got half semester of eligibility.
Yeah.
I'll go.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Yeah.
I know all of those will actually pay you a stipend. I know UNC, because that's one of my top choices if I want to go to graduate programs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the top places I would love to go. They pay, I think, for PhD students or candidates and all that, you get paid a $15,000 a year stipend to basically, and that should help cover like living expenses, which in reality that doesn't really cover living expenses and food and like
No.
all the other stuff.
Yeah.
But it's better than doing everything out of pocket.
Mhm.
And then on top of that,
Yeah.
like, over time you can also teach some. And but
Yeah, that's I just finished 20, so I've got 5, maybe 10. So it's not even worth it for me. And plus, moving to the system I'm in now, it's the highest paid. So
Yeah.
I got a massive pay boost. So I'm not worried about
yeah, see,
that,
for me,
that
like
over there.
a master's for me would be I could do things with a master's and like depending on what branch of psychology I did. Like if I got a master's in psychology, I could do like IO with a master's. I could do like probably some cognitive. I could even do counseling. But then like there's also a lot of jobs too that you do need a PhD if you're going to be a researcher or you're going to be
Mhm.
a professor. Like they want you to have those PhDs and
Oh, yeah.
honestly, like not a lot of like I've started second guessing if I want to do a PhD just because like the more I've looked into it, I mean there's other things I could do that don't require waste. I don't want to say wasting, but taking 6 to 7 years and not getting paid a lot and then not
Yep.
even having a guaranteed job afterwards. So
Yeah, you're right. So there's no doubt about that. So I did look a few months ago at doing like a doctorate in sports psychology, but then there was stuff I'd have to go back. I was like, screw that. I'm good.
Yeah, that'd be something else. So, but so what I was getting at was, so somebody left Michigan instead of going to Michigan. And
Smart
but it was,
move. Smart move.
Yeah, that was one of the assistant coaches. It was gosh, now the name just left me. Russell.
really,
What's his name? What's his first name? His last name was Russell. Russell there, All American, kind of big time. You always associate with Kevin Russell. He was the assistant coach. Oh God, where?
Keenan Russell sounds right, but I may be totally wrong on that.
Yeah, I think Keenan Russell sounds right. I just don't say his name enough for that to be 100% right. But he is going to Cornell as our RTC coach.
awesome.
Yes. I saw that headline
RTC.
somewhere.
RTC.
I think you said ROTC. I was like,
No.
didn't know that was okay.
Yeah, him and is that where Nashawn Garrett's going to?
Is Nashawn Garrett going back up there? Because Nashawn was, I don't know if Nashawn is going as well. He might, because that'd be kind of back home for him.
Yeah.
After he
There
went
was
out
two
west,
names.
and then-
I remember there being 2 names in that headline that I saw. I may be wrong though. I may have Nashawn wrong. So
Yeah, but I know he's the one. He's going over there. It's obviously also been a minute since we talked here as well. So old news wrestling world wise, but maybe we just haven't mentioned it yet. With the news of Cornell, we did not talk because we talked about last time who was going to be the coach at Stanford. We're like, who's going to take that program over? Are those guys going to stay? What's going to happen? Blah, blah, blah. Obviously, I think all those guys are staying, even more so from what we talked about last time. We kind of all said the reason why is like, and we used Cornell as an example. Like, you don't go to Cornell without wanting to go to Cornell first. You don't go to Stanford without trying to get in academically to those places first.
yeah,
But yeah, so Rob Cole going from Cornell to Stanford
made sense, but did not see it coming.
No, yes,
Did not see it
that's
coming.
the perfect way to say it. Makes sense, but didn't see it coming. I was say I didn't see it coming at all. But then after like hearing that, him and his wife been wanting to move, and like it's like he's close to retirement, he could go out there and like retire out in California.
See, I didn't read any of it. I just saw the headline. Like, I'm just saying, like, it made sense because if you're Stanford, you want a guy that knows what you're getting into, and who better? I mean, who better to go after than an Ivy League guy who's at the top? And oh, by the way, he just happens to be close to retirement, so it's even better.
Yeah. So, and what I read about it was interesting. Was like it wasn't necessarily that he pursued it either. Like it wasn't like he was like, they have an offering or an opening. Let me go try. It was kind of they did exactly what you said. Who better can we get? Let's fly him out here. Let's talk to him. And he flew back and was like, I'm going out. It's kind of like.
I mean, what? Stanford's in Palo Alto? I mean,
So, yeah.
Let's be honest. Who would not want to live out there while other people are paying for you to live out there?
Yeah.
And you get to wrestle.
I've never been to Palo Alto, but I've seen pictures of Ithaca. I don't know, like Ithaca's like, or just saying like there's, I like quaint and like low key, but at the same time, like
it reminds me a lot of when Terry was the coach at Chattanooga, and he straight up said, if the SEC ever gets wrestling, we're in trouble because, and he said it was recruiting. Yeah. He goes, I can bring a recruit to Chattanooga or to Auburn or to Florida in January, and they're in shorts and T-shirts. You bring them to Iowa or Ithaca, New York in January, and you got to love to wrestle.
Yes. Yeah.
You're going in snow boots.
Exactly.
To get the person you're getting was, I remember watching the Tony Ramos video when they were recruiting him, and they were like on their way to like, and here we're going to the football game, and Tony was like, I'm not here for all that. I'm here to wrestle. You know, they're like, all right, let's go sign you up. Yeah. But that guy is kind of far and few in between. Like, you know, nowadays, especially, you're not going to have that one guy that goes, I don't care how cold it is. I don't care how many layers of stuff I got to plow through to get to a class or to get to the practice room. I'm going to do it. Places like Chattanooga, places like Auburn, other places where you can walk around and see the campus and be like, oh, this is cool. This is nice. Like, they kind of sell themselves.
Well, but I'm not going to put Chattanooga on the, and we're both alumni. We love our mocks. Okay. We throw it up, but it's not an SEC school.
No, but
there's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's locale and region is what I'm saying. Like, you throw that locale in a big name school, like to have the stuff to have. And then Michelle, like I said, just drove through recently. She says it's changed a lot, had pictures. It looks even like, I don't want to say nicer, but like, maybe not for me right now, but like has even more of that draw to like a kid going to college. Like, they'd be like, more wow factor. Even though for us, we're kind of like, oh, let's get a little bit bigger city. I want to like move out a little bit, you know, but you know, but for that kid going to college though,
again, I'm an old man. So for me, it's different. Like,
no, you're not. You're not old.
If you like, I wouldn't have mind the cold, like, because what I would do is I would just like every time I'm training or running outside in the like
be thinking Rocky.
Exactly, I'd be Rocky montage in the brain 24/7, and I'm about to fight Ivan Drago. So like for me, that sounds kind of cool.
Just because you're playing with that 8-track in your fanny pack while you're running around out there.
Exactly.
I know, but most people don't think like that. I kind of like that. I like simplicity and all that stuff. I'm not big on like, oh, look at this ginormous city with all these restaurants and stuff. I'm like, cool, but like, where are the mountains?
Oh, not that we could have afforded any of it.
No, yeah, exactly.
Don't even start. We won't even get into those days.
Now,
but I mean, when we came through, and that was our mentality when we went through, even then in Chattanooga. So,
but I mean, with the NIL now you can. Somebody may be able to afford.
All right, so that's
a whole nother show right there.
But this is kind of a little bit of segue just to kind of start on it because I am curious about it. And in all honesty, minus Russell moving to Spartan Combat RTC, Rob Cole going out west, we're kind of in a lull between now and the Olympics. The teams are set.
Speaking of, when are the actual? We'll get to this after. I mean, we'll go with the NIL, but like afterwards, we need to make a note. Like, when are the actual dates and times? Do you know?
Beginning of August, and I heard we're like early. We're like early? 3rd, 4th, and 5th, or something like that.
Because
I thought it started. Well, it may be. I thought it started on the 8th, but I may be wrong. The only reason I say that is because of the Japan doing the state of emergency, so there's no fans allowed.
Now, maybe when I heard 3rd, 4th, and 5th, that's either one of two things. Either it's the dates that are 3rd, 4th, and 5th, or it's the 3rd, 4th, and 5th days of the Olympics. You know.
Yeah, like, I haven't even looked at it, so
that was just something I've heard just kind of recently. But we're fairly early on. Whenever it is, we're not like
it'd be the same. I mean, if it starts on the 1st, we're the 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Yeah, there you go. So either which way. So, but yeah. But we're kind of in a lull of like other wrestling news, unless there's anything else big that anybody can think about, like other than all this NIL stuff.
Hey, we got to give shout out to our boy Bobby Cook. I know they finished runner up.
Yes,
in the junior duels to Iowa.
Yeah,
I wish I could have been. I know the cadet duels were just stupid, but you have participated in them, Ed, and I've been fortunate as a father to do it. Follow my son, and it is. Fargo, I'm looking forward to, but I mean, going and watching the national duels is like, it's just stupid watching those guys go at it. So, but shout out Bobby Cook in Oklahoma, runners up.
Yep, he runners up, and then I watched his interview on that one, and he was like, literally, they enjoyed kind of having that home field advantage per se, and he was just like, it's one of those things, and just like we've all said with wrestling, a couple matches, one or two things go a different way, and they're right into it. And again, Bobby Cook is such a great guy. We've already talked about how people are role models and everything. He said nothing but positive things about Iowa, made no excuses, and he's just that way. So top-notch guy, all that kind of stuff. Speaking of Cook, spoke with Andy Cook on the phone the other day. Another
cool.
Chattanooga shout out there. But he had a link. I got to go find it to support their RTC up there and Olympic training and stuff. Like, they got some coffee. So I was like, I was like, Andy, I like coffee. I like wrestling. Obviously, I like you, my man. How do I support and get some of this coffee from Washington? So I got to find the website and the link and all that.
Washington.
There you go.
Washington State. Yes.
Okay.
Hey, let me know, because he and I.
Yeah.
He will be coaching their 16U team. So we're going to hook up while we're in there, and hey, it'd be really cool. We could find a way to get him on. So we do something
next week.
So yeah, we'll make it work. I'm going to take my Mac with me next week as well. So whatever we got to do, we'll make it work, and we can get.
We'll figure something out. I'll talk to him. I'm looking forward to hanging out with him and all the other guys that haven't seen in years up there, and enjoying Fargo. So it's going to be an experience.
So that's the other thing I was going to say. And we can talk about Fargo just for a second before we get into that. You've already talked about like getting to enjoy that experience and stuff like that. And I was just going to say, I was like, man, it's something else that Fargo has always been a big deal. But, we kind of full circle-ish, like talking about social media and other things, like, man, like the way that they're able to hype up Fargo and like get the different things and like talk about it and stuff like that. It's even bigger now with that ability to get that information out to people and like, to have the live streams of it. I'm looking forward to, I'm guessing Flow or Track going to have it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. And hey, I mean, and USA Wrestling, like twice a day, 3 times a day, posting the rosters that are for the states that are going. So to know ahead of time, I mean, they are
that's
the
big.
marketing.
Do that kind of stuff before. Yeah. So I'll be looking that up. I'll be trying to figure out whether it be on Track or Flow or whichever. Throw Kel's name in there to get the text alerts when he'll be up, if there's a way to try to find that one. But I think that's really an awesome thing, how big that has helped wrestling, like the presence of all those different things and stuff like that.
It really has, because like I know coming from Alabama, when I came through, it was like you just kind of heard trickles of it unless you were like really in the know. It wasn't until I got fully to college to fully comprehend the magnitude of Fargo and what it meant on the national level. And so the kids down here, I'm glad for the kids down in the South to be getting it from really all the South teams. Hey, speaking of the South, did you guys see Mississippi has finally sanctioned wrestling? We now have 50 states.
Yeah. Okay, so it's fully sanctioned now.
Fully sanctioned starting next year. Yes.
So the next step is like
Facebook about that. Actually,
yeah, I thought I saw something. But,
I looked at I think that's totally awesome. I'm glad that they did.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then the next step now, I think, is for every state to have a sanctioned girls
sport. Yes.
Girls like in wrestling, not just kind of like what we have here, the unofficial girls state tournament, with which every state I think now has like at least an unofficial girls state tournament, but to like get it fully sanctioned by the state is the next step, and that will be huge.
I don't know where South Carolina is. I think Alabama is. If we don't do it after this year, I will be fully shocked. I think this year we're 1 year away from fully sanctioned female wrestling, which is awesome.
We are like 2 years away, maybe, hopefully less than that. I mean, we just had at that camp that Hayden was at, we had Brianna Delgado. She was one of the clinicians there. She beat Jenna Burkhart. Burkhart beat Helen Rulis in that one match of 3. So like, she's a South Carolina native. Like, that just goes to show, like, we have girls within the South that can roll with these other girls that are top level, that are part of the stuff, and they can do it all. So
speaking of, have y'all heard I don't know if y'all have heard about this. and we may have talked about it briefly. Clemson is actually meeting here soon about bringing in, because they're bringing in another female sport, but they're also looking at bringing in another male sport.
Mhm.
And I think they said the top 3 choices right now are wrestling, gymnastics, and I think swimming.
I don't know.
And but that's apparently within the next like few months, apparently there's going to be an announcement of like which they choose.
I mean,
Fingers crossed. I'm hoping they go wrestling.
obviously,
If that-
I'm gonna go wrestling.
Wrestling, that would be huge for the South. I think that could send a ripple.
It would
For
be
the
huge
South.
for the South, but it'd be huge. I mean, just for like, I mean, I would say, yeah, let's just say for the South. I was gonna say it'd be awesome for Clemson. I mean, because like, I mean, you're in a great conference with the ACC.
Mhm.
Being a newer program, you're going to be able to like work with these smaller smaller schools too. Like you could probably host duels with like Chat and like
I mean,
App State.
yeah, I
and all
mean,
these
you'd
other-
have like all that kind of regional stuff. Now, my only thing with that is like I'll become a Clemson fan if they do it, but like I've been kind of burned by them so many times. Like I've signed so many petitions already throughout my years here.
I think I've signed
for
like
Clemson.
4.
Yeah, for because I've probably sent you all the ones that I've signed
I think
too.
I sent them to you. Right?
Yeah, I think both back and forth, so I know it's got to be more than 4.
Yeah.
But like every time it comes up, it's like there's so many reasons why they should.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
it's kind of like, let me just go and say, it's kind of like Stanford. It's like there was never a reason why they did what they did. You know, there's no reason why they shouldn't. But like we've had more reasons why they should than why there shouldn't
Yeah.
be. Or I've never heard the arguments why there shouldn't, and it just
Yeah.
doesn't seem to happen.
Well, see, the thing is, it's always been rumor, but now, like, this is from people like at Clemson. Like, it's pretty much one of those things that like it's on the top 3. And
Well, the fact,
I'm not
Go
saying
for it.
gymnastics isn't a bad idea. I mean, I get it. Like that's kind of popular. Swimming, it's swimming. Nothing against it, but it's not going to be a moneymaker. I mean, wrestling is the only one that makes sense, both like financially and just logically. Like if you think about like the resurgence, I don't even say the resurgence, but the emergence, I guess you could say, of the ACC in wrestling. Like it just makes sense. Like we're one of the few ACC schools that don't have a team, and that doesn't make sense to me.
yeah. So, and I hate to say this, but like those 3 sports we know are like some of the ones that they target to cut. And men's gymnastics we talk about wrestling getting just butchered. I mean, men's gymnastics just falls by the wayside. We were at Nebraska and they have men's gymnastics, but you look and like it's been, not as great as it has been. But I started thinking like those are the sports that really get hit harder than wrestling. We're big wrestling people. So we see that. And as much as I would love to do that because it's going to bring in people, they've already got it. But the other thing is it official that the NCAA made it women's wrestling an emerging sport? Didn't they make it a Division I emerging sport for women's wrestling?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there it is. So now Clemson, that big roadblock, that hurdle is now out of the way because it is a 2-for-1 deal that everybody's held up on.
Yeah.
So,
It'll be
I don't
interesting
know.
to see how that plays out and stuff. So, all right. So, initial thoughts on this NIL.
NLI. What is it called? Is it?
it's NIL. It's NIL.
Okay.
What was the NIL? It stands for something. Image and likeness. What's the N?
I don't know. National? I don't know.
No, it's name,
Name.
like
Name, image, likeness.
Likeness. I knew it had something. Like everybody, especially NCAA. Like okay, they all like these. Well, anything education
Acronyms.
loves acronyms. Okay, but NIL.
Anything in government loves an acronym.
Anything
don't
that doesn't need to make any more sense or needs to make more sense and needs less confusion, less there are acronyms out there. So
Exactly.
yeah. So name, image, and likeness. So to sum it up, kind of, I saw a funny thing where somebody posted it was the day before July 1st. Kid on on his bike trying to get to practice. Phone rings. Okay, coach, I'm on my way. Pedals off real hard. After July 1st, all decked out, cash full of money, pulling up to the car. It's like, oh, we got practice an hour ago? My bad, coach. I'll see when I can get there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Initial thoughts. Do people dislike? Is it kind of in between? I don't know. I've got a lot of different.
I think it's like everything else. Take away the top 5%, and it helps everybody. because you and I both know when we went through and we were talking about just laughing a minute ago about what we really ate in college. If we could have gone in, when we took the cats to the vet, and I happened to got in the lineup that week before, and the vet was like, "Oh, I saw you wrestle. You guys get the employee discount."
Yeah.
Like, shh, like that type of stuff never happened, but it could have, because we could have gone in and we could have been doing stuff and not lived on, hopefully your mom's package of fantastic, authentic Korean food would have shown up so we could eat on that. Thanks, mom number 2, by the way. You got us through. So, I mean, guys like us, those other people, I think someone is going to benefit, even though they're not going to get as much.
See, and that's what I was wondering about with it, before we go into actual people and what they're doing with it, is how much is it going to benefit everybody? Because I was talking about it like this, and I think Tyler and I mentioned it. Yeah, you were over there just the other day. So I said, the reality of what this is going to do is right now, I think everybody is quote unquote signing. Everybody is this athlete, that athlete. And a lot of them are like, okay, we don't honestly know what this means yet. Okay, that's fine. You don't know what this means. Yeah, you signed up to be with somebody that you have no idea what you're doing yet. And 2, in the long run, after however much time this takes to go, if you're not one of the top people, if you're not even one of the top sports, basketball or football, is anybody really going to see any money off of this? And that's what I said with Tyler. Like, for example, we were both at Chattanooga. All right. We all of a sudden can put our name and face on a t-shirt, sell it, and get money off of it. Great. Yep. Who's buying that other than you, me, and our 2 moms?
The part that, and once again, I have not read a whole lot into it, but listening ahead of time is people like us. It goes back to, we make those shirts. We go back to, say, my hometown, because it's not as wrestling oriented as you were out in Oklahoma and places like that. But now, just like you guys did the Hidley camp, whereas now you're an NCAA athlete. Before this, you could only get a certain amount or whatever. Now we could collect all those profits. We could have a camp and we could put our name on it, and you can start doing. And so now you can fully collect off of it.
Without it being under the table and things like that, which is fine. I'm still saying though, like, I still think it's those that were, it's going to be like, let's take wrestling for what it is. Like, they're only 9.5 scholarships if you're a full team, but if you're, so we use this example, like, so Iowa, for example, man, Spencer Lee's going to make some money. All right. All those guys pretty much in that starting lineup will probably make some money. Okay. Now, let's see if Nick can answer this question, because we couldn't. When I think both DeSanto and Lee were out on COVID, they threw another 25, 33-pounder in there to wrestle. He wasn't a bad kid. He was actually, I think, fairly top-notch, as a recruit. He got recruited. He's getting a chance to start. He's behind those 2 guys there. Do you know what his name is? Yeah. So, therefore, we couldn't remember what his name was either. All right? It's like Thompson.
Sorry, dude.
Yeah. Like, okay, so is he going to make any money off this NIL?
I know.
Well,
it wasn't Gavin Teasdale, because I've never heard of him since.
Gavin Teasdale is still gone.
He's still MIA.
Name, image, and likeness. He's about to blow up and make money.
So my take on that would be yes. And here's why. Because what you said, he is a scholarship athlete. He is signed by the University of Iowa, wrestling in one of the top 3 biggest wrestling towns, in the country. So if you're signing a scholarship to go there, there's going to be people lining up, not like Spencer Lee-esque, unless you're one of those, but to provide you with something. All right. I would use more of like where I just was, Nebraska. It's big, but there's a lot of Nebraska football and things like that. If you might fall through the cracks unless you're a Chad Red or a Schultz or one of those guys. Like, I could see it, and I think that's where, from the wrestling perspective, you get away from Oklahoma State, Iowa, Penn State, even, I don't know. I mean, that might be it.
Yeah. I mean, even in Chattanooga, besides friends and family and like the old timers who are going to support no matter what, like, cause they were getting, they're the boosters. They're going to support no matter what. Beyond something like that though, let's be honest, this NIL is for the Trevor Lawrence's, the Justin Fields, the Heisman candidates.
The
It's
basketball.
for the basketball names.
Yeah.
This is who
It's
it-
for-
this,
It's for
this-
basketball
this is
and
for-
football. That's what it's for.
It's for that, and also like for the NCAA to make money off NCAA football video games or college basketball video games, baseball video games. Like,
And they know that they are about to lose a crap ton of money in these lawsuits that they can't win
yeah,
because of all the billions and billions they've made. Yeah, sorry, Tyler, go for it. Keep going.
no, go ahead and finish.
No, that was what I was saying. Like they were losing these lawsuits, and
Yeah, I mean-
and they're about to have to fork out all this. And I hope that they do lose it, and I hope there's a class action lawsuit for all athletes of Division I from 19 whatever to Ed and I went through, because I will be signing up
Yes.
for that.
Yeah, I mean,
Give me my money.
so there's.
I don't care. Give me my $1,500. I take it.
Have you seen? There's a professional basketball
I'll
player.
take all 200.
There's a professional basketball player that when this broke out, he apparently tweeted at the NCAA. He's like, "Hey, can I get my $40 back?" Because they suspended him because he like received $40 for something.
$40 on a meal somewhere. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like it's that.
Hey, we won't-
ridiculous.
We won't say anything about all the times we were there and never got per diem during Christmas break. Okay, so we won't say a word.
Yeah.
Right? So,
You know, like how many, like I didn't even realize that happened until one of the times. It's like, wait a minute, we were getting money for these trips? Who said we got
Yeah.
money for food? What?
yeah. What we were supposed to get what? Yeah. All right. So
I remember going on a trip and being like, you know, eating at a Shoney's or something. And I remember they were like, yeah, so coach got everybody's tickets except for the rest of us. And they were like, he's just paying for theirs. I was like, oh, damn. Yo,
What on that
got
trip?
money to
Yeah.
get home still? Okay. So I got in line, put it in the pocket, had to go to the bathroom and just ran out to the car. So,
never.
Have
No college kid ever dined and dashed ever.
you know, like, good God.
So here's another thing about this NIL. What do you think how do you think this is going to like affect that transfer portal and stuff? Because we remember you brought this up not too long ago with Kennedy Monday.
Mm-hmm.
You were saying maybe he's holding out for more money, like scholarship money. What if he was holding like now?
Because he did end up staying.
Yeah. What if you start seeing people holding out for more actual money now? You know, like you're going to see people be like, oh no, I'm going to hold out and see if I can get
It's your best friend.
if I can get get some scholarship money or some payment from from like Iowa or Penn State now, you know, like because if you're at say Virginia Tech,
It does make a difference. Like, where can somebody capitalize on this?
I mean, having taught a few high profile football players, I mean, we know it's already going on.
Yes.
It's already going on at the football, at the ones we're talking about, it's already going on. And that's the other reason beside this, I think, besides the money, is a lot of it was about to really blow up. It started to in basketball with all the deals that was going on with Adidas and all of that. But it was about to really blow up as well. So this, takes care of two birds with one stone. We don't have to worry about, we can kind of let the genie out of the bottle. Oh, people have been offering and they've been taking stuff for years. Okay. So I don't know
anymore and just make it a deal now. Like, okay.
it's like the joke. Have you ever seen the movie Basketball? It's a people made South Park. There's a joke in there they mentioned a couple of times. They're talking about these athletes and they're like, when do you think Shaq got paid more? When he went to Los Angeles or in college? Everyone's like, everyone knows he made more in college. Like,
yeah, because it was all tax free then.
yeah.
exactly.
There's a big difference there.
But no, I mean,
Especially in California and LA. Golly,
Yeah,
that's terrible.
versus where was he? LSU or
yeah,
where?
LSU.
Yeah, it was LSU and even Orlando. Florida had no taxes.
Oh yeah, they didn't have any taxes either. Yeah, so he was good there, but
That's why he did that movie Shazam. Even though it was terrible, it made up the difference in the money he lost in taxes.
yeah.
So-
What you mean taxes? Huh?
Yeah, even your dog agrees.
Yeah, taxes. What? Like no. I pay taxes like I hit free throws. I don't.
Oh,
So-
Exactly.
What happens when you start seeing people like now go into like Texas more? Because like Texas, I don't think you have like state income tax and stuff. Like,
Yep, that's why they're moving to
Like
Texas in the
certain
South, because it's
Yeah,
great.
that's why everybody was leaving California and going to Texas because
Yeah,
they got
so-
tired
Yep.
of the taxes.
are you
So,
gonna start seeing more people want to go to like Texas schools? Because like you're keeping more of the money. Like,
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think it's interesting. I don't have an issue with the idea of an athlete getting something off their name, image, or likeness. Okay, like
Yeah.
it's kind of like putting in the work. They put in the work. You want to put my name on something or my face on it, like, you know, as the selling headline thing, then give me a fair cut of it. Don't just
Yep.
don't just use me and not expect to be able to like give me anything or say that I can't get something out of it. Okay, I don't mind.
Exactly.
And I 100% get that that is going to still just fall on your starters. It's going to fall on the stars. It's not going to be for everybody. It's not going to,
Yeah.
it's not really going to help it, but it is what it is. Help those people out.
Yeah.
What I'm curious about is just, again, like how many kids may end up getting screwed over in this because now all of a sudden they can have something, they can sign with somebody and they're all going to be like, hey, let me sign with the first person that says they'll give me a sponsorship deal and give me money. And so like, it's kind of like when we said people signing with colleges, like kids don't know and they want to change their mind and things like that. Like now we're talking about like business stuff. And unless they're a business major or have the foresight enough to have somebody that says, hey, before you sign anything, I got a lawyer that can look that over for you.
You think
know?
you think kids? I mean, because at the end of the day, that's what they are coming out of high school. You think kids are going to be business smart enough to understand? these
That's
things?
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Unless they know somebody that's going to be in their ear and say, don't do this yet. And like I said, Real Woods was like, I'm not signing with anybody. I'm going to release my own company in his own name, like Real
As
Woods
he should,
LLC.
because that
I'm
is
like,
the
okay,
best.
now you're not work. I'm like, that sounds better. That sounds like you've thought about this.
Yep.
The stuff like with, and I need to go ahead and put it out there. I can't use the Disney Yoda likeness because that would be like copyright infringement. I would never sell such a thing. But
No. No one on Etsy would ever sell anything Disney.
no, never. But like people have said, that where's the excuses are for Wuss's t-shirt, you know, like on Spencer Lee's stuff, because he signed with and I looked it up, it's the thing that's doing the school's basketball team player stuff. And it's just got his name and his face. They're not going to like cater to what he actually did or is known for.
Yeah.
It's a big generic thing. I'm like, you know, people are just doing that kind of stuff. I'm like, look, I can design a thing. I could put it up on the Store Envy thing with your name and your own little page on it. And we can write up a contract and I'll be like, I'll give you $10 off of every shirt sold off of it. You know, like,
Exactly.
Maybe he
you know,
can
like,
pay to get
I
his
could do-
ACLs fixed.
you pay to get his ACLs fixed. That's awesome. I mean, I could set that up, but
They
like,
don't need an SEO.
I'm not
Or
like
two.
some of these other places or other things that aren't any different that are just gonna like kind of use his name and like, yeah, he's gonna get a cut, but like, I don't know, there's still like an exploit level of all this. And how does all that?
There, and that word exploit is, you know, obviously has a negative connotation, but you're exactly right. At the same time, that's what this is for. It is for those guys that we're talking about, for passionate fans like us, even like I was saying a minute ago about gymnastics, swimming, lacrosse, field hockey, all those sports that nobody, unless you're a passionate fan,
Unless
you're
that's
not going to get it. So it's going to be groups like this, and those passionate fans are going to come to him and go, hey, by the way, hey, I've got, you know, this Figure 8 design company. I do shirts. This is what I do. Hey, let me help you out. Let's help each other out. And you're not trying to screw them. They're not trying to do anything. And, you know, you just kind of work your way. And that's where it becomes beneficial across the board. Are there going to be people that try to take advantage of them? Always going to be people that try to take advantage of them. And I don't think we can. I think it's going to be more beneficial, but there's a whole lot of gray area and a lot of stuff that's got to work
this
through.
is going to be years down the line that until they get this like truly figured out, and then it's
At least Henry will profit from it.
Yeah, eventually, yeah, right. By the time people, but I think eventually what's going to happen is this NIL thing. Like after a couple years, and they start regulating and figuring out what works and doesn't work. Guess who's still going to be in full control of it all?
The NCAA.
Yeah, so they're the only ones that I think have a down the line 10 years what this is going to look like, and all it's going to be is they're still going to line their pockets, but you know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Hey, that's all right.
also, the cool thing about there is one cool thing about this that I think is amazing. So, for instance, if let's say, as a Michigan fan, I'm not going to wear anything Ohio State. I'm just not. You can cancel that. However,
We're going to send him a shirt and make him wear it.
when
Wrestle down and put it on.
Like for instance, like when Kyle Snyder was, if this would have been around when Kyle Snyder was there, I would probably buy a Kyle Snyder shirt because I like Kyle Snyder. I
There
don't
is
like
that.
Ohio State, but I like the particular wrestler. Like, or for instance, like I'm a fan of UNC, and like I would buy like a UNC wrestling shirt. But like, say for instance, if I didn't like UNC, say if I was a huge NC State fan, but I love Austin O'Connor, I'd be like, cool, let me get an O'Connor shirt, like something like that. I feel like that's going to be awesome for that, because now it's not only you can. I still think we should support the schools, just because, I mean, on principle alone, like I think we all three of us would agree, like let's support the wrestling program as well. But it's also going to be cool to support the individual athlete on top of that.
And the thing about that, you hit it perfect right there, Tyler, is supporting it. A lot of people forget, when you show up and go to just the school bookstore and you buy, if I go to the school bookstore to Chattanooga and I buy a Chattanooga wrestling shirt off that bookstore, the program gets zero money. And that's the way it is at most universities. You have to actually go to the athletic site to buy it. And a lot of people don't know that. And it's going to be the same thing with those people when they do that. And it's going to be important.
Another thing that I think should help out is like, and let's be honest, like if you go to the athletic sites for most schools, at least for like say Chattanooga and stuff like that, like it's hard to find like the Chattanooga gear unless they do what high schools do when they release their team sporting gear to the coach, unless you're an alumni and on a mailing list. So I think this will push more of that to the individual program, saying, hey, look, if my guys can sell these shirts with I need to do a better job of being able to put out for the team, you know?
Yep.
So, and if they can find ways to now start doing the team site with team gear and then scroll down, like we'll just use wrestling since we're obviously wrestling fans here, but like I can see the team shop being like team shop, all, you know, we've used Iowa. Let's use Iowa. Here's all of Iowa apparel, Iowa wrestling, got the Hawkeye on there, Iowa wrestling. And then by weights, it could be like, boom, you want to support Spencer Lee. Here's Spencer Lee stuff. Here's DeSanto stuff. Here, you know, and down the line.
Here's
and
a GoFundMe for the restaurant bill for Cassiope. Like,
Cassiope's restaurant bill, like all that kind of stuff there. So you can have all those different things like that. I think that would be kind of cool to see.
Absolutely. And you definitely.
Bye-bye.